Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Empath Sisters. I'm Shelly.
Hi, I'm Bev.
And last episode, we talked about synchronicities, and I really hope that, we gave you a little bit of knowledge in that area and that it helped you. If there was any questions, we really appreciated, reading some. And it was really neat for me, even for me, to learn a few things too. And this week, we are going to be talking about soul contracts. And I honestly, I'm going to be honest, like I don't really know exactly a whole lot on soul contracts. I do know a little bit. And from what Bev is telling me, I'm assuming a lot of you out there don't know a whole lot about soul contracts either. So we're gonna just bark in this little bit of information today. And I will tell you what I know. And what I know about soul contracts is that, like, I know that before we come here as a human being, this is just my, I guess, look on it. And Bev, if you need to, you can step in anytime. But I look at it as you are basically planning your whole entire life, if you want to call it that, like, or contract, before you get here. And you are choosing everything that you might want to experience or do or whatever while you're here. And I kind of touched on it last episode about, even deja vus. And that's part of why I believe in deja vus, is because deja vus to me is like a sign or an alignment saying that, yes, you are on the right path or contract, whatever you have decided in the beginning. And then you come here.
Yeah, it's like soul remembering. It's like, I remember this part.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like coming back to the book, or like that part in the movie that we already saw.
Yeah.
And it's like, right, okay, here we are. Cool. I like this part, or maybe we don't. I don't know.
That is true.
I guess depending
that is true.
On the moment.
Because I remember saying, why did I pick that?
Yeah. True.
Why did I want to, experience that?
Yeah, that's literally been, I think, the last few weeks of my life. Definitely the engagements that I've been having. I'm like, what? What? And then it's like, right. Okay.
Yeah.
It's for a reason.
Yes. Yes, so. Exactly. So, and so I hope that, after speaking on, a little bit on soul contracts, that it will give you a little bit clarification. It did me, because I learned a few things before. So it's, I was pretty shocked. So if you want, Bev, you could actually go ahead and start talking about just a little bit more in depth, because like I said, I only know a little bit. And
for sure. I have to mention, actually, before we kind of carry on, back to our last episode, when we were talking about coincidences and synchronicities, and when we were talking about numbers and stuff like that.
Yes.
I had one of my clients come in last week, and she had listened to that podcast, and she wanted me to tell you that she had, I think, repeated 555, I think 4 times in the one day. And she was like, oh my gosh, I listened to that episode, and she's like, I had no idea what they meant. So please tell Shelly I Googled them. I Googled just like she did, and I had to find the answers. So she's like, tell her I Googled. So I was like, thanks. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. I was laughing. So I just had to pass that along. I know I haven't talked to you for a little bit. So just wanted to let you guys know that she loved that. It just gave her direction, and she got some answers she was looking for. So she just thought that was really cool.
Awesome.
So I was like, yeah, my sister's a Googler.
Yes, I am.
She loved it.
And like I said before, and I'm pretty sure I even mentioned it on the last episode, that, just take what resonates with you. It doesn't necessarily mean just because you Googled something that's what it means or whatever, but there are different kinds of, information out there, right? So, but I appreciate that. Thank you
Sure.
so much. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
for sure. And you're right. Whatever resonates with you, there's so much
Mhm.
information, but
Yes.
sometimes there's a hidden message. Spirit will work in so many mysterious, amazing ways.
Yeah.
And so when you are looking for that message, whether it's the first thing you read or you kind of you're like, no, that doesn't really speak to you, you'll find that you will continue to keep searching until you get an answer that resonates with you. And it's like, bam, there's my message. Okay, good. And then you're ready to like kind of carry on from there and move forward. So
Yeah.
yeah, just keep looking, for what resonates with you. So
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
yeah, so
exactly.
it,
And
it
that's why
was
I
so
always say
cute.
that it may not be right for you, but keep looking because, or it's not even keep looking. You're going to know that you need to look. Like Bev
Mhm.
just said, you are going to know even inside. Like you're going to be like, no, that doesn't make sense to me, or, whatever, however you want to look at it. And you will
Yeah,
find the answer. Like she said, it is always in a hidden way. It
for
will be
sure.
really revealed to you, is what I'm trying to
Yeah,
say.
it's all in code. That's what
Mhm.
it feels like. We're all trying to find the messages, but they're all encrypted in code. And it's just a
Yeah,
matter of finding them. And then when it speaks to your soul, it's like that alignment, it just clicks. You
yeah,
unlock the code, right? So that's how I look at it. And even for when animals appear in the nighttime, I don't know what to call it, like my dream time when
your
I'm
dream
traveling.
time. Yeah.
When that's happening, I find that if I Google the animals, even spiritual meaning of that animal, anything like that, dream
Yeah,
interpretation, I find that it never speaks to me
yeah,
unless I look it up in my spirit animal book. I
right.
find those messages are just like so clear to me. So
Mhm.
I don't know. So I usually typically turn to my one book just because I've learned that really speaks to me, and most of
Yeah.
my messages are encrypted in that book when I look.
Yes.
So especially when
Yeah.
animals come about, so or when I'm
And
traveling. But
the book that she's talking about, it's actually by Stephen Farmer,
Farmer,
correct?
yeah,
Yeah,
Dr. Stephen
and
Farmer.
yeah, and I have, and I think Bev does too. He has two books actually on animal spirit guides, and
Mhm.
one is a bigger book. It's like a big blue one, and then there's a
Yeah,
little pocket one.
yeah,
Excuse me. And so the bigger one has a lot of information and different animals, and but the spirit little book that he has also has different animals in there as well. And so that's why I have both books, because
me too.
one book doesn't have, all of them, and like certain animals that you've, seen or heard or
Hmm.
even dreamt or whatever, right? So if you're
Yeah,
going to do that, I would recommend buying both books, just because both books give you different
a
sides
lot more
or
animals.
animals. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. And they are
It's
great
true,
books. Yeah.
because I
Mhm.
was at work one day by myself,
Mhm.
doors locked. I was in my room here, and and I stepped out of my room, and all of a sudden there was a grasshopper on the ground, and I'm like, "What? This big
Yeah.
grasshopper? I don't know where it came from. He just appeared."
Mhm.
And so I was like, "Ah!" So first I collected him in the cup and put him outside, and then I ran to my book to find the message, and I read it, and it was so bang on to what was literally happening in my life and I was just asking for. And so then when I went home to tell my family about it, because that's what I
Yeah.
do, and
Mhm.
I was like, oh, let me read you the message. And I ran upstairs and grabbed the big book. Well,
Right.
grasshopper is not in the big book. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
So some there'll be same,
Yeah.
they'll have
Yeah.
it in both, and then some there isn't. Some are just in one then the other. So yeah,
Yeah.
having both is really nice. I
Yes.
unfortunately have them in two different locations, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But they're great books. Anyway,
Yes.
I'm
Yeah.
squirreling off as per usual. We're so good at squirreling. You should see
Yeah.
Shelly and I when we try to go shopping together. Oh my
Mm.
gosh. It's like anything sparkly, blingy. It's like, oh yeah, this. And then we'll be talking about something else. And we totally forgot why we're even there or where we were going. And oh my gosh. And we'll just
We've even
squirrel.
left, like we have even left the place and go, oh my God, we didn't even get this. We were going there
Yes.
for that.
Like we walk in, we talk about all these things, and then we walk out and we leave and we're like, oh yeah, we actually had a mission to complete. It wasn't just like, oh, a walk through talk. Oh my gosh. Shelly and I are really good at squirreling. So here I'm taking the lead on squirreling off. So sorry about that. So let's just get back to soul
Soul
contracts.
contract.
Um, thank you for your patience. So yeah, as we were talking about soul contracts, Shelly was saying just like before we come here, so what I would have to say on that, I'll just touch on that a little bit with soul contracts. So they're drawn up before we incarnate into our new body. Our soul makes these agreements with our higher selves, which creates basically a timeline or an outline for what we will learn during this lifetime that we're going to have. And so before we enter into the fetus, we kind of communicate with our parents where they start to kind of put things into plan. That's why parents start to prepare and plan and do those sort of things, or they have these feelings, or they'll know exactly like what to name you and, you know, those sort of things. They just already are starting to get that information. And then as we grow throughout our lifetime, our soul contracts will affect, you know, everything in our life, our, you know, relationships, everything. And these are, you know, the soul contracts exist so that we can learn about humanity. Basically, that's why we come here as souls. We want to be in the physical plane. We want to have these experiences, good or bad, hard or joyous, whatever, however you want to look at them, all of them. So during that part of our lifetime, that just helps us to gain experience in the physical world. And so we will have these contracts with every person that we come in contact with. And we are to learn from these, what we call contracts or people, however you want to look at it, doesn't matter. You don't even have to call them contracts. But that's basically what it is. And sometimes we will linger on to the contract, even if, so I know Shelly was using an example of a friend of yours, or was it a client of yours or something that had this maybe question with you?
Yeah. And it's funny, I was just going to say, like, I didn't realize that, you know, and this is the part that I didn't realize was that we had contracts with, you know, every single person in our life. And yes, I had a client that came in and was really upset because they didn't understand why, you know, they had this breakup, right? And so it left this person really, I don't even know, like, I don't want to say like, I'll just say upset and sad, whatever, like just, and didn't understand like what they did to have this breakup and why they couldn't continue to have this relationship. And, you know, at that time, like what I said to this person was that, you know, people are in our lives for a reason, and they could be short-term, they can be long-term. But I did not realize, after you had explained to me a little bit about how that part worked. And so that really like was like, oh, okay, but it gave me that aha moment, like, oh, okay, it makes sense why I even felt that even what I said was like short-term or long-term and all that. So if you want to just go ahead and explain that part of it. But yeah, it's really neat because like my entire life so far has always just known that like people are in your life for a reason, for either a short time or a long time, and to like teach you something or learn something, or, you know, 100%. Something like that. Right. So
it's all about these people come into your life, and this is why they call it a contract, is because prior to us coming here, as we've set forth everything in motion before we come, we have to have an agreement or a contract so that that other being can go, yeah, I'll agree to being your friend for this length of time. And this is what we want to experience from each other. So we basically draw that up in an agreement, and then we sign the contract and say, okay. And then when we get there, it's like, it falls into play. And it's like, now we're fulfilling and having this contract. Right. And so then sometimes those contracts end or break. I was explaining to Shelly, even like, I love analogies. I think most people know that about me. But is like kind of like, you know, going to a dealership and having all different vehicles, makes, models, colors, everything, you know, to the basic, to the nines, whatever it is. And we get leases or contracts to try out this vehicle. And maybe we're going to have it for a short period of time, or we're going to have it for a long period of time. And whatever experiences we're going to have with that, and the places we're going to go and things we're going to do, all that sort of stuff, it will come to an end. That's like everything in our life, friendships, groups, partners, that sort of thing. And soulmates, a lot of people are always wondering about soulmates, a lot about soulmates.
Yes.
Soulmates are also part of a soul contract, but they play a very small part in our whole grand scheme of our life, of these contracts. So yes, they're important and they do, have their part and they take play, but it's just to know that it's a small portion of it. That's how big all of this actually really is. And these contracts that we have with everybody is to teach us stuff, right? It's to teach us about humanity. It teaches us who we are, who we want to be, how we want to treat people, to teach us about our purpose. It's helping us to find our purpose. That's why we have these contracts. It's like, okay, this is my purpose. I know this is what I want to do in this lifetime. You create all these contracts to have all these experiences to get to your purpose. Well, we need all of those contracts in order to get there. We don't ever just be born and go, I'm going to be this. And then boom, we're there, right?
Yeah.
It just magically happens. No, we need to have these experiences. That's part of the journey.
I was just going to say that
Right?
is part of the point of being
Exactly.
here is to learn and to evolve, right? And like you said,
Yes.
even, I don't know if you said this earlier or what, but like to grow, right? And that's
Yeah.
part of us growing here,
Mhm.
right? Whether that's even like being a fetus to our adulthood, that's still growing. Like we're still growing physically even.
It's constant growth until it ends, until
Right.
our lifetime ends here, right? So
Mhm.
our soul contracts aren't written in stone. They were created to stimulate growth spiritually for us on this journey, right? So they change. They're not just like, here is this, and this is the way it is through your entire life. They're going to be different. It's going to change. That's why we have the ups and the downs. We have crappy times and good times, because we need to experience and to really learn to appreciate the good times, because we've experienced bad times. It's those things. And even people, having relationships with people is to teach us stuff about ourselves and to what they bring to the relationship.
Mhm. Well, that
Even
just made me think of
bosses
something too, where it
Mhm.
just popped in my head, and maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's sort of like having free will. That is part of why like our past can
100%.
change, because we have free will and we can choose
Exactly.
whether we go here or there or whatever. But
That's right.
eventually we do get guided to the right way. It's just we do have free will. And so we can choose what we
Yes.
want to do.
That is the human part of us.
Yes.
And we all have free will. Everybody does. Even spirits have free will.
Yep.
So if spirits want to come forward, we don't demand them to come forward. If they want to come, they'll come. They have every right to or not to, just like we do. So when I do a reading, same, for anyone else, I'm sure that does the reading, it's like, this is the information that I'm getting today.
Yep.
This is what the path looks like. This is the guidance that's coming through, because they're trying to speak to you like, hey, because maybe you've been just a little bit too much in your human brain, that you're just not fully seeing the picture or fully looking into the contract.
Right.
Maybe there's some fine print that you're missing. And so they want to give you that. Well, you can go, that's awesome. And you can take that and then utilize the fine print and move forward through your life. Or you can go, meh, that's great. That was nice to hear. But if you don't want to change your life at all and you want to continue living it every day the same, you totally can do that.
Yep.
Just don't expect that to come anytime soon, because now you're just going to prolong that, or maybe you're going to completely change it based on how you choose to move forward.
Right.
So that's with everything, everything that we experience. So yes.
And I agree. Yeah. Because then that's
why
what
they
I always
change.
Yeah. And that's why I always say that, I'm sure you do too, where after any type of, like even with me with healing or, giving an intuitive reading or whatever, I always say, remember, you also have free will. So you can take this information with what you want to do with this. It's up to you. I can't tell you what to do. Like, I just can't. Right. And so that I just wanted to bring that up, because it literally just was like, talk about free will. So I was like,
totally. And even with agony in our soul contracts, that's to teach us progress. That gives us strength. It teaches us to move forward, keep going on your journey. Don't give up, right?
Yeah.
Having the right soul contracts help to influence us and to fulfill our life's purpose. And there's also going to be positive souls that that come into your life, and those, are designed literally to teach you about humanity. They're created, these souls are created, and they kind of work with like pure heart, pure intention, right? They're just like those really good soul people. They kind of help you to aspire to be better. Those are like positive soul contract souls as well, being in your, and to also continue learning about your life's purpose. That's what positive souls will do for you. And then when we have negative ones, those ones are negative souls will be ones that will like try to manipulate you, maybe they're abusive towards you or other people. Maybe they are attention seekers. Maybe they lack empathy, so there's all these, this is why it's like every person we come in contact with that we have these engagements with or contracts is to teach us something, right? Even I was saying like on a group level, right? And just coming together. So my spiritual groups that come together every month, it's the same thing. We're all kind of on the same, we all have a similar part of our past, and we all come together at those moments and we share the same, experiences, but maybe different. We kind of are learning from each other. We're helping each other grow. We're bringing information to the pool. And so it's just like, that is a group contract, individually, but coming as a group. So just like when you go to school or when you work in in the corporate world, wherever you are, whether you're in a group of people or individually.
Right.
Yeah. And yeah, of course, when two souls are meant to be together, that will bring like, of course, the greatest happiness that you can experience here on the physical, for sure.
Yeah.
So soul contracts can also be broken, because I know a lot of people want to know about like, okay, well, how do they end, or how can I break one? Because some people have the awareness that they're still tied to somebody, but they don't want to be. They're just like, when will I get over this person or relationship or whatever it is? And those can also be broken. As I was mentioning to Shelly earlier, is that they can be broken, of course, if one of the people pass away. So of course that will break the contract. Or if the other person is leaving. So for instance, the story you shared, or the example of the relationship ending, and one ending it probably was right for them and the other person not understanding. So it's that person that ended the relationship broke their contract to that person because they learned what they needed from that contract and now has moved on. Whereas the other person hasn't been able to look at what they were to learn from that relationship. And so maybe are not seeing the fine print. But that's when we get into our human side of us, where we get caught up in our emotions and we can't really see the big picture, right? We kind of get lost in that place. And sometimes that's why sometimes these contracts will take longer and some are shorter, right? Because some were just like, we just know. And some are just like, man, I got to really learn. And sometimes it'll happen over and over and over until we go, man, you know what? I've been doing this over and over. I'm so done with this. You start to see a pattern because it was meant to show you something, but you didn't learn it the first time, maybe the second time, the third time. Sometimes, it takes 5 times until we go, oh, I get it now. I don't want to do this anymore. And then you're done.
Yeah.
You end it.
Yeah.
It's
exactly.
so neat. They're really, it's so cool.
Actually,
honestly.
I actually have a question, and maybe you can answer this for me.
Sure.
So, when you see someone and you go, oh my God, I know that person. You know what I mean? Like that, I don't even know how to explain it. And I know you know.
You had already met?
Yes. And you know how you are like, I know this person where I don't know, but you have this feeling you even feel it in your soul. Like,
it's a feeling.
know you. And, and that has happened to me quite a few times. And I've had a person in my life that I did that, I remember even saying it, like, I don't know why, but I feel like I need to, come and talk to you because you look familiar to me. You even like your name even sounds familiar to me, even though I don't, like, I've never met this person. Do you know what I mean? And so I was wondering, I guess my question would be for those types of moments with someone, would that be where, is that more like on the soulmate level, or is that just on your contract level of just meeting that person at that time?
Many things.
Yeah.
Actually, because it will be, it can be somebody that you already know that it's like deja vu. You had that
Yes.
moment where like, oh my gosh. And then you start to create that contract with the person. You don't know what the person is going to bring, but you already know it. You feel it. There's a
Yeah.
knowing and a feeling. And then you start moving forward in a contract with this person. It was like, there's that deja vu feeling. That's the best way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Another way will be somebody that is part of your soul family, but has incarnated differently in this lifetime. So maybe isn't your sister or your mother or your auntie. It's like, but might have been in a past life, but is coming through as a friend, started as a stranger, but there's that connection where you're just like, oh my gosh. And then you start probably having a relationship with this person, whatever it is, working, friendship, relationship, intimate relationship, whatever it might be. And then there will be the other way where spirit works through us.
Right.
And we are messengers and we have to pass something along. And so it'll be that moment that we're like, this moment that we already knew that we had to meet this person to deliver a message. So maybe nothing will proceed from there. It's just, oh my gosh, it was like, there, I found you, right? That missing piece of the puzzle. And I have a message for you. And we tell them this information and they say, oh, we must have met for a reason. And then you never see the person ever again.
Yep.
So that's when spirit works through us and delivers those messages where we are acting messengers as well. But it's already, we know it because we're fulfilling. Truth speaks to us.
Right.
We feel it. So then we know we need to do that part to fulfill that part for that person, just like other people do for us.
Right.
When we need to hear things. So,
Okay.
3 different ways. That's how the best way I could describe.
Yeah, no, it totally makes sense for me because with this person, it was like I never had a relationship with this person afterwards, after we had this like, oh my gosh, this moment of like, I have something to tell you type thing. Or, like it was very short term, but I got a message out of that and I could actually share it. It really was a message of me knowing that I had to become a healer. Like that was my moment of knowing that I needed to learn, whether it was, spiritual healing or Reiki, whatever, but that was my moment of knowing that I'm supposed to do this, that type of thing. And that contract was done like literally not very long. So
it was short term was what you needed right in that moment.
Yep.
And they just all of a sudden just show up.
Yep.
Like, and I love when I get to be that person because I understand it.
Right.
And so when I just randomly, people talk to me all the time. And so sometimes I'm just like, okay. And I just go with it. I love it because it's like, I don't know what's going to come through. I just channel whatever. And I know it's for a reason for that person. And I'm just grateful to, be a conduit for it, right? Just to be that vessel to pass something on to help that person on their journey. So I know. So
and it's
cool.
so funny because I just said this to somebody because I just did a yoga training last weekend and I just finished telling somebody how because they asked me, oh goodness, it must be really hard for you to go out in public. And I said, well, sometimes it is, yes. But I said, honestly, this is probably why I don't like going to get groceries, because that is the one place that I find is overwhelming for me. Everybody seems to come up to me at the grocery store.
Rude. It's like everywhere. I can go through a drive-through and learn about the person that's taking my payment. Will tell me, oh, I just moved. I'm 6 months pregnant. Like literally life story. I'm like, okay. I remember taking the kids through a drive-through once, and Isabel, my daughter, had mentioned to her friends that this happened. I didn't know that, but we're driving through it and literally both windows talk to me. And we're just sitting there longer than we should have been because these people are talking to me. And she's sitting in the backseat going, see, I told you, we can't go anywhere. People just talk to my mom all the time. And then for a while, they stopped coming with me because they're just like, oh, it takes way longer. You say you're going to be a half an hour, but we know, Mom, somebody's going to talk to you.
I
It's going to
know.
be an hour or you'll be 2 hours because I can't
Uh-huh.
legit stand there forever and talk to somebody. It's so
Yes.
crazy.
I can't say the word like how everybody says, oh, I'll just be 5 minutes. No, that
Never.
does not happen in my
No.
life.
My family knows that's a lie. But that is my intention.
Yes,
But
it
I'm not
is.
lying. That's what I
It
tell them. I'm
is.
like, I'm not a liar. My intention, I truly, truly want it to be 5 minutes. And I'll do
Yeah.
my best. It's almost like you got to put your hood on and just like run in so nobody knows you or sees you because it's almost like I have a neon sign, right? It's like, right?
Open,
The radar goes
open,
up,
open.
right? And I'm just like, get
I
out.
know.
Oh my gosh. But
I
the
know.
intention is 5 minutes.
Yes, it
But
is. Yeah.
oh my gosh. But anyway, so yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully that kind of gave you some insight on, our souls coming here, the contracts or relationships, that sort of thing, and just bring a little bit of clarification there, or just a little maybe aha moments, or just
Mm,
broadening your awareness. That's always
yeah.
something that I like to do as well. So,
Yes.
because when we have awareness, we can make change, is something I always love to say. So maybe it'll make some change in your life and how you view things or
Right.
learn things. So
Yep.
anyway, that was my intention. So,
Yeah. No,
but
definitely.
yeah.
Like I said in the very beginning of this podcast or this episode,
Mhm.
I only know a little bit of soul contracts. And so even just by, this conversation that we've had today, honestly, I've learned even a little bit more about contracts. And I've
Mhm.
even had, like I've even mentioned it in this episode where I've had a little bit of like, aha, okay, yeah, this happened and I know why.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so definitely, if anything, I've even learned something
Yeah.
today. So it was good. Yeah.
Yeah. All of this
Yeah.
is our contract with others to help
Mhm.
others to learn in a positive way about all kinds of things that come through.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yes, we super appreciate all of you
Yes.
tuning in and listening. Just wanted to mention again that we only have one more episode coming up after this, which will be our last episode of 2021.
Mhm.
And it will be basically, I want to say, like a tribute to our dad.
Yeah.
We will be pre-recording this one, but it will
Mhm.
be released on what would be his birthday
Yeah.
on December the 14th. So just really looking forward to that. We're going to share a
Mhm.
bunch of stories, signs, experiences, that sort of thing,
Yeah.
because there are quite a few amazing ones that we've had with
Yes.
our dad, and just
Yeah.
information that we've had that has come through even on our experiences, even my meets with our dad. I've
Mm.
learned a lot as well. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
looking forward to that.
I was gonna say also bear with
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know about Bev, but me, maybe I will have a few tears this time.
Yes.
Just because of the, like, whatever we're going to talk about, or however we're going to talk about it, it's going to be like a happy tears. It's
Of
just,
course.
it's just amazing what we've experienced. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to say, bear with us if we,
Yeah.
there's moments where we're just being quiet.
Maybe we shouldn't YouTube that one. Maybe we'll have ugly tears. Just making a
Well,
podcast. No, just kidding. It's all
see,
good.
but
It's all
yeah.
good. So
Mhm.
yeah, we're really looking forward to that, and we'll see what comes in the new year for
Yes.
you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're
we'll
hoping
see.
to, we're going to collaborate again and,
Yeah.
figure out what we're going to talk about and maybe get some
Mhm.
guests on. And
Yeah,
yeah, so we're excited. So we just don't
super
know
excited.
when we're going to get on next year, but we will let you know.
We will keep you all posted. Don't worry.
Mhm.
So not to leave you hanging there just a little bit though. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, thank you so much everybody for tuning in today with the Empath Sisters. We appreciate you so
Mhm.
much. Thank you so much. And just, sending you all love, light, and gratitude wherever this may find you today. Thank you. Take care,
Yes.
everybody.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.